Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Tuesday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. At Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there. Join the militia. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. We appreciate all of you. This is a show about we don't know what the show is going to be about. We're going to talk. We're going to bring Tyler on. We're going to have some fun and just see where the conversation takes us. This is kind of a little bonus content. Just trying to do something in between games. As Syracuse having a week off. So Tyler was trying to get on quite some time ago, and we were waiting for another COVID pause to get him on, but it never happened. And obviously, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. So he will be joining us soon. And just for the record, I don't know. Of course, there'll be a disclaimer afterwards because I will know, but I don't know what kind of language will be used. It's kind of a free form. I don't have anything up on the computer. I got no notes. I got no box score. I got nothing. So... yeah, we'll just see what happens. So
flying blind here.
Should be fun, to say the least. So, with that said, this show is brought to us by... Can you guess, Joe? Hold on. Stalling here. All right. Take a guess. Go ahead.
Subway.
Subway. No, not Subway. But...
They'll eat fresh anyway.
Almost as good. Colorcast. Colorcast is a live audio-only sports talk platform, free to download and use. Talk to us, other fans, athletes, and insiders in real time. Perfect for watch parties, debates, post-game breakdowns, and reacting to breaking news. All you got to do is go to the Colorcast app for free in the iOS or Android stores. Create a profile, link your Twitter, and join the league or group. Follow us at Cuse Militia to be notified when our room goes live. And... you might be saying to yourself, well, what the hell, guys? I already signed up for Spotify Green Room. Don't fret. We're still using the Spotify Green Room, okay? We'll be using that for fan feedback live during that segment of the show all the time. And Colorcast will be something that we maybe do either during games or post-game or something like to that effect. Some kind of bonus content. But all live stuff for the show will always go through the Spotify Green Room. I don't care if they're sponsoring us or not. That's where we're going through. So if you want to download that, feel free. We'd appreciate it. Also, Sports Drink. Your digital water cooler. Sports Drink is a newly created internet community that tries to find the intersection of sports and not sports. They're here to help us grow and to hate your favorite team. A rising tide lifts all boats, so go check them out online or at social. Go to sportsdrink.org. Open Instagram and type in sports drink, spelled like sports drink without the vowel. So at SPRTSDRNK. They do have on their website, they do have written content, and they got podcasts for all kinds of sports, not just the NCAA, but MLB, skating. That is not roller skating, that is skateboarding to that effect, something like that. And also NBA, whatever that is, and the NFL. So go there, try them out, check it out. We appreciate all of you who do so. Thank you once again, Sports Drink and Colorcast. Okay. Joe, anything to say before we bring Tyler on?
Go Orange.
Go Orange. That's right. Go Orange. All right. All right, joining us now, our good buddy, friend of the show, Tyler Marona, live from Texas. Tyler, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. I'm tired right now for one reason or another. It's weird being an adult, man, because as you guys well know, you guys have been adults longer than I have, but it's just a tiring, responsibility.
Yes, the Monday through Friday grind is quite the thing.
Dude, sometimes the Friday through Sunday is worse because like there's Super Bowl, there's all sorts of stuff. Like in this time of the year, really, I think the holiday season kind of ends now, in some way, shape, or form. Because like you're always making excuses for like, oh, there's MLK Day coming up, but then there's this coming up, then there's a Super Bowl coming up. Like I'm gonna overeat for this event, and for this event. So then it's like after a while. Really what it comes down to is up from like Thanksgiving through Super Bowl Sunday. It's just like, for me at least, it's just gluttony wrapped up in a nutshell. So, I mean,
yeah, I try to take it easy a little bit between New Year's and Super Bowl, but Super Bowl is definitely, we don't do anything. We sit home, but there's me, the wife, and 3 kids, and we just do the homemade appetizers and just eat until you can't move, and it's fun. It's once.
That's the way to go, right?
It's once a year. It's all homemade appetizers.
Exactly.
We don't buy the frozen shit and microwave it. If we make potato skins, we're making potato skins.
Yeah, man, I miss the Northeast appetizers. There's just nothing quite like them. And like in the South, it's totally different. Like the Tex-Mex stuff the queso's unbelievable. But I do miss like the classic, authentic Northeast food to a degree. I will say. Like
wings. That type of stuff?
Yeah, dude, yeah. Wings, pizza, like all this stuff, like all the sports food, bar food, it's just not even close to the same. Like it's rarefied air up there. It really is.
Well, even
like tenders, Tully's tenders.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, there's nothing like the Tully's tender for sure. But and the wings up there are pretty good up in Syracuse. But Virginia Beach has some good wings. And Joe's still in good. You can find the good bar spots. You find the good bar spots. Oh, see, Joe, the bar right by my house.
No.
It's called Tailgates. So shout out to Tailgates. That's where I go. I can walk there, and they got the best bar food, dude. They do.
No, and I've got to the
wings.
point where I buy my wings in air fryer, toss them with my own sauce.
That's a good one too.
Yep.
That's a good one too. And you could do I got the smoker, so I'd do a little smoker and then air fry. For the crisp. So.
And we got
so
Wegmans down here, so I can get some Anchor Bar hot sauce, or I can get some
Dinosaur
Wegmans
barbecue
wing sauce, right?
Yeah. So,
legit.
And if it weren't, and Joe, that only makes sense to buy your own wings these days, because I think even the local bar by me I believe it's $16 for 10 of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So we're experiencing a wing shortage, by the way.
Yeah.
So as at Wegmans,
I'm thoroughly aware of that.
Are you? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because at Wegmans, the big thing we go there to buy wings, and we ended up not, because they didn't have any. So what they did instead was they were selling drumsticks, like large packages of drumsticks. Like no, I cannot be fooled by the drumstick. First of all, I'm a flats guy.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one's
yeah.
only like 4 pounds heavier.
Yeah, and it's the dark meat. I like the flats. I'm a flat guy. So
with these, you only need 2.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
the other ones you need upwards of 35. This you may need 1.
Yeah, and you want to talk about smoking something? You smoke the drumsticks. I mean, you know what I mean? You do it like European style, right?
Well, so what's your do you have a smoker? Do you have an egg? Do you have a Traeger? What do you have?
Oh, I've got a Pit Boss, which is the poor man's smoker, I guess you could say. But it's
I don't judge.
It's amazing. I mean, it does the trick for me. I've had it for 2 years and I haven't had any issues. The thing's awesome. My dad's got a what's that? There's another high. It's not a Traeger. It's even more expensive than that, if you can believe it or not. Which those are kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But mine does just as good a job as his, and his was twice as much as mine. Put it that way. So, anyway, but so what did you? Well, let's get this out of the way. What did you think about the Super Bowl? Tyler's buzzing. Tyler, you're buzzing for some reason. You hear
I'm
that?
Buzzing?
Yeah, there you go. Buzz. So I mean,
better or worse? Sorry,
it's not there anymore. It's not there.
It's not.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. What'd you think about the Super Bowl? How about Matthew Stafford?
I don't really care about any of the Rams, to be honest with you. In fact, I actually really dislike the Rams. I think that they remind me a lot of the Dodgers, and that's because I grew up in LA, and I really dislike the Dodgers. And what's funny is that I'm also a Lakers fan, which is very well documented. So that intersection is very tight, but I really dislike all the other LA teams besides the Lakers. So And as soon as the Cowboys get eliminated from contention, I automatically just switch to the AFC.
Which is usually when is that?
NFC
When is
team.
that for you usually? When Dallas?
That's usually so. Like I was just telling that it doesn't matter to me. Like I'm like bulletproof to it now. So usually it's between like week 10 and 17.
Right? Yeah. I feel your pain, bro. So it's okay.
Well, this year I at the inception of the season I was just like, okay, I'm just starting it at week 1. Like I'm gonna root for the Cowboys and the Chargers at the same time. And then, like, inevitably, one of them will get eliminated later than the other. They basically got eliminated the same day, which was tough for me.
Well, I mean, we got our one, token playoff game, and then got beat by the Bengals, who went on to go to the Super Bowl. So I guess, you got beat by the AFC champs. It's okay. I can handle that, I suppose.
Well, and I mean... I don't want to go any wrong directions here, but the Raiders incurred all of the potential like distractions possible.
Well, that's what happens when you move your team to Vegas.
Very true.
It's the stupidest move. We've talked about it. It's the dumbest move, I think, to line your pockets ever. Obviously, not the team's best interests. That is a money move and a money move only.
Regardless, your coach had to quit because of emails. Right?
Yeah. But Eminem can, I believe if you go through his lyrics, you'll find quite a few things that are way worse than anything John Gruden said. And
lyrics or emails. What I'm trying to get to here is that Derek Carr, the last play of the game, like that's just exactly who he is to me. Like he'll play a good game, and then he's very Tony Romo, where like the last minute is just like over.
Right. But can he read defenses like Tony Romo? I saw a meme that said, it's too bad Tony Romo couldn't read defenses like he could in the booth when he was on the field.
Oh, he could. He just didn't want to.
I know. I sent Joe a meme the other day. It's a Lions banner hanging in their stadium that says, our old quarterback won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Dude, like I said before, I wanted the Bengals to win simply because back, 8 years ago in that draft, I wanted the Giants to choose Aaron Donald. And instead of pick right before the Rams, they chose Odell Beckham Jr. And then the Rams chose Aaron Donald. And then Odell Beckham Jr. was on the Rams with Aaron Donald to win a Super Bowl. So to me, it was just like, good for you, Giants. So that was the reason why I didn't want to go with that. I mean, I was with the Bengals all the way, but there were some controversial plays there too.
Oh, the one face mask, that was a gimme 7-point play right there. Jalen Ramsey got yanked down.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was not a ref that was at a good angle to that. I mean, in all fairness, there was
a couple I saw on Twitter too. Like there was a play when Rams were going to score where I think their whole offensive line, but the center moved before he snapped the ball, and nothing was called. And they obviously go on to score a touchdown. And then there was another snapshot of Aaron Donald, pretty offsides on that last play when he got the sack on Joe Burrow. So I mean, go to Twitter and look at them. I'm just saying. Okay. If they were your team, you'd be pretty upset.
Oh, I had way more other reasons to be upset about my team last year. If they made it to the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, I hear the buzzing now.
Do you? Yeah, it's still going.
No, it went away. Okay.
It kind of goes away when you talk. So we'll just sign off, Tyler. Go ahead. Take over. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be something to complain about, right? Especially when you go like almost the whole game with no flags. Like there was very, very few, 2 flags until the final 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad about the officiating at all. I mean, there's going to be, regardless. I think like as a former player, I think you want to think about, or I would think about, like, just don't get a flag called on you. Like that's the biggest thing, right? So, being from the perspective of like, if they're letting the boys play, then you'll start to see the game get a little bit more aggressive. But like, I don't think the game was like out of hand. Like I think it was just like a very well played game. 2 of the best teams matching up, and I don't think that the players really did anything to go warrant some huge flags. Sure, there's gonna be like a miss here and there, But I think for the most part in the Super Bowl, even as memory serves, like I really don't remember a lot of like big games coming out of controversial calls. Because I don't think players I think they're just so cognizant of that in the moment.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't remember. I forget last year's Super Bowl.
Well, as a player, you get upset, but at the same time, you do understand that they miss calls. So,
yeah, of course.
I think that you can be honest with yourself. That you're always going to try to lobby for a call, but in the back of the mind, when you get a call too. So,
right.
I think it evens out as a player.
You know what the worst part was about being, especially a defensive lineman, is I would go up to the ref after a play and be like, hey, that dude was holding me. You gotta, he was holding me, and he goes, okay, what number for next time? And I'm like, look, I'm not talking about next time. I'm talking about what just happened. Don't talk to me about next time.
How about look at my number and make sure no one holds me? How about that?
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's exactly you're supposed to be looking out for me, not the other way around. I'm not trying to give you he's going to hear this offensive lineman is going to hear this conversation no, and see me talking to you and know that he needs to at least not hold for at least two plays.
Yep.
Joe, if you want to talk, I'm going to have you use your raise the hand function.
Why is that? Are you just trying to be funny? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I just saw that Skype now has the raise your hand function like Zoom. They're getting with the program, I suppose.
All right, how about this?
Oh, hey.
Does that work?
Hey, easy.
No?
Easy. That does not work,
Sorry.
Joe. That's not your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
Well, your hand's up there, part of it. About 20% of it. Yeah, Tyler. Buzzing.
Yeah,
Look at him,
man.
Look at him. What are you drinking, Tyler?
Me?
Yeah, ice water?
Topo Chico.
Oh, Topo Chico. That's
it's carbonated water.
Nice. It's probably big in Texas.
Oh, it's huge. It's out of Mexico. The first time I ever had one was sorry, dude, my phone is blowing up. You guys have something to talk about? It's work people calling me, so just give me a second.
Tell them you're doing something very important right now.
I am. That's what I'm trying to.
I mean, Joe and I would talk, but it's going to devolve into probably mask wearing or something like that because there's nothing Syracuse to talk about. So
no, there really isn't.
There's no Syracuse news right now, unfortunately, and so it makes things a little difficult.
We filled our last coaching spot. Michael Johnson, senior or junior.
Okay,
receiver coach.
Receiver coach.
Okay. So that's about the only news we had. So.
All right, congratulations. Welcome aboard, Mike Johnson, junior, senior.
You have a very, very, very hard job in front of you.
Yeah.
that might honestly be the toughest job on that staff right now. I think that's the least talent-rich position we have.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean it's been improved, I think.
I wouldn't say experience.
It's been depth. We've added depth. Let's put it that way.
Our defensive line, but I know we have a lot of talented players coming in there as well. So I mean, we got some guys. One guy that decommitted from Florida there, and then committed with us. He came here just because he knows he's going to be able to get playing time. So we definitely have talent on the defensive end, more so than receivers. It's just we have experience, and older receivers they haven't really proven to be very productive.
You been watching any basketball, Tyler? Big Syracuse basketball fan, are you?
I'm glad you brought this up. This is one thing I needed to talk about. Something I need to get off my chest.
Okay. Can't wait.
The NBA starts well before college basketball and really before the new year, which is nice because I can get a kind of a taste, a good sample even before the new year. So I can kind of decide okay, how is my winter going to go? What am I going to do with my time? Am I going to watch the Lakers this year? Am I going to pay to get the NBA League Pass where I have it piped in from out of town? And it's for some, it's a lot. For others, it's nominal. I don't know. It's $100 for the season to do that. So I'm it's enough to have to talk to the wife about hey, there's gonna be $100 charge, all this stuff, right? So Lakers are terrible. Like, there's no redeeming quality with them whatsoever this year. Okay, so that's been well established. So in my mind, I go, you know what? I need something else to do with my time. I need to watch something. It's probably going to be college basketball. I talk probably more shit about college basketball than any other sport that there is out there, period, probably.
Not a fan.
Not a fan whatsoever.
It's so much better than the NBA, though. So much better than the NBA.
Not even close.
Oh, my God.
There's a reason why the guys in college have to stay for like a minimum amount of time because nobody wants to be there. But before all that, I am a very big Syracuse fan. The two teams I watched growing up I watched the early CBS game and the late CBS game. It was Syracuse always on CBS, and then it was UCLA. It was a nice, back-to-back. So I'm like, you know what? This year I'm going to talk less shit about college basketball. I'm going to give them a chance. In fact, I'm going to give the Orange a chance. And I tune into the first game I have, and it's literally my New Year's resolution: stop talking so bad about college basketball. And the first game I watched was like the 29-point loss to Duke, and I was like, I'm back out. Like, I couldn't even watch one game.
I mean, you picked a really shitty game to watch, though. Let's be honest. I mean, you're 3/4 of the way through the season at that point.
I needed something to go back to. And the one thing that I thought that was going to be there for me, I would have taken a 10, a 15-point loss, maybe even a 20-point loss. When it got up to the 30-point range, it was devastating.
They're just not. They're just not matching up with.
I'm
Duke.
Escaping one pain to literally go put myself there in a completely other one.
Yeah, well, once it gets up to 20, the pain starts to subside. Then it just becomes frustration and anger. But when you know it's coming too, it helps. And I knew that was coming. So.
No, that game, yeah.
Yeah, that game. That game specifically, yeah.
So, Tyler, you said that was your first game watching, right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't watch it leading up to...
I watch the Georgetown game every year, and normally my deciding factor on college basketball is am I going to watch this year is whether or not we win that game. And 2 years ago, or whenever, because I think we've lost consecutive years now.
Yeah.
No, we beat them last year, didn't we?
No, did we?
I'm pretty sure we won.
We've lost 2 out of the last 3.
We've lost 2 out of 3.
We have. We've lost 2 out of 3.
Because maybe I'm talking 20 whatever, 2020.
Yeah, it was the year before last. Yes.
Yeah, and I literally
Joe's looking.
I remember that being a soul crushing loss, and I literally turned to my wife and I go I don't want to eat, I don't want to watch anything, or I don't want food to taste good until 365 days until we beat Georgetown again. And I tried to swear off basketball, college basketball that is, until we beat Georgetown again. Because if we lose, what is there else to play for besides the national championship? But that year didn't really look like we were going to be that promising based on the fact that we lost to a loser, no good, morally bankrupt school like Georgetown. So then I'm like, okay, well, if that's the case, then we're not going to win the national championship. So I was like, well, better luck next year. And I believe that was a year we had a nice run. So then Katie's looking at me like, hey, you already canceled them. You can't watch the tournament anymore. So I put myself in that position. That was tough.
Yeah, I mean...
That's always tough with Syracuse.
It's tough.
You really can't count them out with stuff like that. You know?
You can't, because they always
Speaking of Georgetown, we thought that Colgate was going to be our worst loss, right?
Yeah, Georgetown's terrible. Have they won a game in the Big East yet?
Dude, so... Georgetown beat us December 11th, all right?
Yeah.
4 days later, December 15th, they beat Howard.
Ooh.
And they have not won a game since.
So they have not won a game in the Big East yet?
Have not won a game in the Big East.
Fire Ewing. Hashtag fire Ewing.
6-18.
Golly. And what are they in the Big East? 0-12?
Oh, God, I don't even want to look it up. Whatever they are, they're 0-13.
0-13.
So wait a minute. You're trying to tell me, if my ears are serving me, you're trying to tell me that we lost to Colgate in Georgetown, a team that hasn't won a conference game.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
And we've beaten other ACC teams?
That's correct. We've lost some ACC teams we should have won, though.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. And Colgate Colgate scored 100 against us. It was 100-75.
Yeah. And what have they done since,
humiliating.
Joe?
It was humiliating. And they are 10-2, and the Patriot League, and they're starting to pull away in that conference as like the dominating team. But either way,
well, we kind of knew that. That's why I kind of hung my hat on the early season predictions.
You don't give up 100.
I understand. I was trying to not throw salt in the wound that day, and I ended up looking stupid. But I mean, if they can win out in the Patriot League, I mean, that
whole game was stupid.
That whole game was terrible. Syracuse was awful in the beginning of the year. They just didn't know what the hell they were doing. There's too many new bodies on the floor. You'd think that Jimmy, being that his dad owns Syracuse, he would have some semblance of what the hell to do out there, but it even took him time. So
yeah, Colgate went 18 of 43 from the 3-point line that game.
18 of 43. Yeah. That's like James Harden, Houston Rockets type stuff, man. That's crazy. In 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's the length. That was the length of the game.
That's crazy, man.
What did work want, Tyler?
Well, my boss is trying. He's annoying me for some tiny account that he's trying to give me, and then another guy that I work with is saying like he doesn't know the alarm code to sign out, and I was like, look, I'm the newest guy here. Like I don't even know the alarm code. Like I can't help you with that. So it's one thing after another, and then. But we're all good. You
working from home?
Here.
You're obviously not working from home if there's an alarm code and all this thing.
What is work now for you?
I am an insurance broker for Gallagher. So I went back into insurance. So I started my career with Allstate as an agent. That was horrible. It was like the worst job probably ever. And then coached for probably like a year and a half, and then tried to do like the teaching thing along with coaching. And then I missed the sales aspect of life. So then I was like, all right, I want to get back into sales. And then my wife works for a broker. So I went to one of her competitors and interviewed with all of them, and ended up choosing Gallagher. And one of the ways I found out about that is they insure a bunch of sports teams. So like they're brokers for the Astros out here, and then they have the Cubs and the Padres and like FC Dallas, a bunch of, we're talking to a couple other franchises, and I may or may not be talking with a league that I used to play for in college about insuring them. So that would be interesting and a lot of fun and possibly close to you guys. So
nice.
But anyhow, so I'm basically just a business to business insurance salesman, but it's a lot of fun.
You wear a tie?
I don't. It's nice. In Houston, it's pretty relaxed these days.
It's called a bolo, right?
No, there's still some dudes out there rocking the tie, but for the most part now, it's like, nice pants. Either if you're going to like a really nice client, white collar, you wear a button down. But for the most part, we just wear polos, golf attire most of the time. So it's gotten really relaxed since COVID. But yeah, I am going into an office every day. My wife works from home. This is like her setup over here for work, but she's actually getting phased back into going to work. So she was in the office today. So it worked out.
Figured Texas would be ahead of the ball game on the in-person work stuff.
However, we both work for like national brokers. So
gotcha.
It sits at a much higher level than my tiny little area or office does. So.
Yeah, I work for corporate too, so I have to deal with the rigmarole as well. The optics.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, I get it. I work for a local small business, so less than 100 employees. Never had to worry about any of the federal things that were coming down the pipeline at one point. But it has many advantages, but it has its disadvantages too. So,
Ditto.
Right. So.
Ditto.
We're gonna stay off the work subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No mind.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. So
I think I go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm not gonna interrupt you.
Go ahead.
No, it's another topic. I was lamenting this week about how SU doesn't have a baseball team on Twitter, and it really kills me. I mean, it really does. Like, I think that more than anything else would have been a really nice ad to have, especially in the springtime. I get that, for the most part, we can't play outside I mean, we'd have to like create a facility indoors.
Yes.
But like
We could do that in the dome too, right?
No.
I think you could figure it out. Maybe.
Well, we've thought.
I think if they were going to figure that out, they would have figured that out when they just did the however many millions in renovations. I mean,
Right.
I know they do softball in there because that's a smaller field, but you know that. I mean, obviously we have the stadium for the AAA, but I mean it's way too cold when NCAA baseball starts. It is cold still up there.
Well, it's like starting this week. That's
Yeah.
what made me think about it. It was like the preseason stuff's happening now. But my point is beyond all that. I was just thinking, like, imagine when the snow melts and there's like the last 2 weeks and the team's competitive and maybe we're going on a conference run and it's like 50 degrees outside and it's beautiful, snow melts, trees are green, and that ball is just flying out of the yard. I mean, imagine, just like, I think the tailgates for that it would be incredible. So it was just an image I had in my mind. And then above all else, like imagine the uniform potential you have on that. I mean, forget it.
Yeah, I mean
That is true. Do you think that there's a baseball following for that though? In that area?
I mean, you got the
Fans
what are they
watch.
now? The salt potatoes? What the hell are they?
Is that what they're called?
I have a salt potatoes
Sky
jersey.
Chiefs?
Who is it? This not the Sky Chiefs anymore, is it?
No, they're just the Syracuse Mets, right?
Oh yeah.
That's right. They're the Mets. That's right. Yeah.
They
So they can't even get people to show up to that. I mean, they brought Tim Tebow in for that. No, I mean, our AAA team here is we enjoy going. We have a blast. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and the problem is getting people to show up. I mean, you can get people to show up in an area like this. It's just it's in Norfolk. It's on the water. It's it's a good central location. A lot of military around here. Something to do.
Right.
So and it's fun. I mean, you go there, grab some peanuts and beer, and have a good time.
Yeah, you just have a good time.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is that this is founded, and I know the reason why they don't have one. So I'll fill that in after I share this. But so Lemoyne College has been to the College World Series. And
True.
they've had guys like start the World Series in the MLB that played there. How do you get fans to show up to anything? Well, you're good. Well, there's a team or a school that's a nobody school right down the street that if you just stole their players or their recruits, like you would be instantly good, have an instant following, and like so Clemson just like debuted softball like 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, something like that, like very recently. That year they went to the title game for the ACC. Like you can get it going quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what Syracuse really needs? They don't need
if you're a big name.
They don't need the baseball team inside the dome. What they need, and Joe and I have talked about this before. It's probably been a couple of years. I think it's time to revisit it while we're talking. Is a separate facility for basketball. Now they just dumped a ton of money into the dome. We all know this isn't going to happen now, right? But think about if they had a 15,000, 16,000 seat capacity for just basketball. How obnoxious that place could be, and how much. How
you could go further. You can go 28 and fill it every night.
You could, man.
Well, how about you just go 20? How about you just go 20? Go 20.
Why limit it?
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I get it.
You only
I
limit
get
it if you're afraid to not fill it out.
Yeah, I mean
we're
that's
getting
true.
25 with mask and vaccine mandates. I mean, we've gotten 30 plus easily.
All right, so
with some certain
25.
games,
25 is a lot. If you put those people in the right spot all the way around the court, line the court like Duke does with the students, like that's where the students need to be. They need to be down on the floor.
Totally.
I mean,
it's criminal.
I mean,
it's criminal
they hide them up in
like,
yeah. It's like they're way
bad.
over here. It's like, these kids, and I see them on Twitter. I hate Twitter, but sometimes if I'm freaking bored, like bored to death, I'll go on Twitter and I'll just see, they got a guy running Auto's Army right now. And his first name's John. I don't know his last name, but they do a pretty good job of hyping this thing up, and they get the kids in there. The kids are in there. and they're the ones that have been turning out all season. Now, if you could reposition them in a place like Joe's talking, 25, 28,000, and you build this thing upright for just, architecturally for noise, it would be absolutely insane. It would be, it could be the most intimidating place to play.
They could strategically do it way better, though, because the way they have it is they have it right behind that one basket, right? And then if you fill up that spot, then where do you go? You go up to the 300s directly above it instead of, like, maybe both sides of the baskets are going to go to students, right? Or you always see the seats that are on TV, the boosters don't show up, and it's just bare right in the front, right behind the benches and all. Like, I mean, I get it. It's tough to have players right there on the benches and everything, so maybe across the seat, but then they have the weird bleachers with all the blue plastic seats, so it's just, I feel like it could be way, like, logistically speaking, way better when it comes to the students. It's just always been ridiculous.
And it sucks for football too, but I mean, we're not talking about football. This is totally different, but it's not great for football either, But I get football why they put them there and everything, but putting them behind the hoop, I don't know if, Duke they have so many, they're mostly filling that place up with students, right? Same with other places like Virginia Tech. It's mostly students. We had Giovanni on last episode, and he was talking, it's going to be 70-75% students. The locals aren't really turning out for that game. For basketball, holds 9,000, I don't know what the hell Joe's doing, but there we go. Okay. But I think it would benefit. You just made all kinds of noise. I think it would benefit the basketball team to do something like that. I think it would be crazy intimidating for anybody. And it would be like, it's too late. He covers his microphone. Like, grabbing the thing's not going to make noise.
Dude, that was incredible. You have no idea.
Joe's home with sick kids right now.
The kids just came in and were screaming. Yeah.
That was incredible. It's like in a movie, like when they just like put their hand over the receiver, like, and clearly that would do nothing, and they just speak clearly to the person across from them.
No one's gonna hear that.
No whisper, nothing. Just like, oh yeah, I hate this person. Hello, it's like that did nothing.
Sorry, man. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
It's okay, Joe. Fine. It's fine.
I was reading about that they had an idea for this when I was on campus. I actually read about this in the DO, which is interesting, that they wanted to put it on South Campus for ease of the bus system. And I guess they had parking plans. They had something drawn up, and it was going to be in the 17 to 20,000 range. That was like an idea floated. But now I'm thinking, like, if you do this, it changes a lot. There's a lot of ramifications that go with that, right? So, like less people when they eliminate all the COVID rules and things are back to normal, because you can put 35,000 in there quite a few times throughout conference play for the basketball team. Well, there's that, and then you got to think of, well, okay, so now when we don't sell out for 30 plus, that money still is needed, and then it just gets redistributed to each ticket price. That might hurt a little.
By the way, they're running it right now.
Yeah.
By the way, they're running it right now. Do they care about money? Is money an issue?
Clearly not. So, I don't know what, I'm complaining about there, but why not just create like another, like literally just Dome 2.0, like the same thing. It's just like basketball dimensions. Like, it's the same exterior or something, because like, if I thought process, like, you just got to do something totally different.
Dome Junior.
I don't know. I don't know what this looks like, but I'm on board with it for the fact of the matter of, like, I don't really care that football and basketball play at the same spot. I think it's annoying that people are always like, oh, this is one of like the greatest venues of all time. It's like, dude, it's kind of like, it's a very bad basketball watching experience. Like, when I was a student, like, what they did, like, putting us up like all the way in the top for no reason, even though I was an athlete, like blood, sweat, and tears going into the program, and they put us like in the the top level. My nose is literally like gushing blood because I'm in the nosebleeds. Like, it was just a bad experience. So I'm all for making it more user friendly, but then it's like, okay, tradition's gone from the dome crossover. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would jack the
There's a reason
prices
why
up
it's not
for sure.
happening.
Yeah, it could be Dome Junior, like you're saying. I don't mind replicating the Dome, just making it smaller. If you ever watch old videos of the Manly Fieldhouse, that place was raucous.
Oh, I bet.
It was wild. I mean, obviously, I didn't live it, but Joe's got his name on his shirt just in case he forgets.
Yeah, right there. Dude, I came straight from work, bro, and you're such a dick.
What were you saying?
I was just going to say they should have modified the Dome into a just football baseball, made it big enough for baseball, then made their own dome for football or basketball. So you don't have those wonky seats you got to pull from the end zone all the way down to midfield.
With the blue curtain seats?
Yeah, the blue curtain seats.
Yeah.
I've said that before. They're good seats, but it's like,
Well, yeah, they're good seats, but exactly.
There's a reason why they never show that part on TV most of the time. The camera's on that side.
It's because it's not well hidden. You have to really be zoomed in on it to not see what's going on with it, right? So you never see it because you can easily see above it and around it. It's more so just for
There's probably people that like have only watched it. I would imagine most people would have watched it and just been like, man, this is such a great like location for basketball. Like, look how many fans they stuff in here.
I remember
it's probably the best, and then we're just over here like saying like it couldn't be any worse. Like, it's terrible.
right. And I remember being back in the Big East days, being there for like some of the Georgetown games. I've been behind that curtain watching the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Up on the third tier, behind the curtain, with
my mom,
before the phones.
Allen Iverson, Alonzo Mourning, and that's where I was sitting.
Oh, with Georgetown? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the one where they broke the record a while back when they got above 30?
Oh, God.
No, that was before that. That was
so
before
young.
that. Yeah. That was before
like
that.
94.
Yeah.
90, I mean,
I'm talking, exactly. Yeah, so the one where they broke 30,000 finally, I believe, was like 97,
it could have been because I was on
98.
the side. Like, I was far.
Yeah.
I was in the 100s, but it wasn't good seats.
Oh, 100s would be worse. You want to be up higher in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would suck. But yeah, there's some crappy seats there. But
yeah, but when you're 11, that's awesome.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll never see it, guys.
Do we need 30,000+ people? Like, I'm just.
No,
like,
that's what I'm saying. 25.
We already have the record. I don't think anybody's coming close to like. It's like if we scale down, it's not like somebody's. Just
It's between us and Kentucky every year.
Yeah, with the average.
With the average attendance, and something tells me Kentucky's going to get it this year. But
well, I mean that's not. This is an asterisk year for Kentucky if they get it.
I don't think we're really like. We're not trashing the attendance as much as we're like, how crazy is it we get that many people and it's still kind of that bad? Like, it could be so much better, more accommodating, like you said, to where you could guarantee to get however many plus. And
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I'm just a big fan of. Yeah, I'm just a very big fan of going to places where people come away going like, no bad seat in the house. Like, clearly there are better seats than others. But I just think I feel that way about football games at the Dome, man. There's really
most
not that
football
many
games
bad
anywhere,
seats.
Right? Most football games anywhere. I mean, it's hard to have, a bad spot.
I don't like
I'll
end
tell
zone
you
seats.
though.
Yeah, I agree, Joe.
Those are not as good, I will admit, on that. But the University of Houston Fertitta Center basketball arena, that thing's not a Rockets arena. I'm not kidding. They're
a good team.
Yeah, they are.
Basketball team is pretty damn good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they have an NBA arena as their home court. And what I'm trying to say is that, like, if you invest that, or if we had that ability, I think we might kind of, be a top 10 team as well, which UH is. And they had, like, a top 5 recruiting class in the country. Like, how do you do that? It's like, well, okay, you can come to a big city, which, Syracuse doesn't have. But if we could flip it and say, hey, you practice in Mello, and then you go play in, Nick's junior junior MSG, it's a better sell.
You have beautiful weather, which Syracuse doesn't have, not for basketball season. So,
no,
unfortunately. But it is nostalgic during Christmas, though, Syracuse. As a kid growing up, it's a good place to be for Christmas.
Bro, I remember that was just part of the deal. If you're going to a Syracuse game, most likely you're going to make the walk up the hill in snow.
Yeah, freezing your ass
And I
off.
remember sliding down
brutal.
that damn hill. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how we grew up. I didn't realize growing up that there was places in the country that didn't get snow. I was like, what do you mean you don't get snow? There's no snow?
Yeah. I was like, it is what it is. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. So, which is why I moved south. I mean, I've been here 20 years now, and I would never go back. It's just too cold. I just can't deal with it. Subpar, like
Didn't you guys get snow this year though?
we did. We got 6 inches. Joe, how much did you get?
I got 3.
Okay. Yeah, we got 6 inches one time, and then we got a dusting like a week later that shut everything down. The problem here is that when you get snow, we don't have plows, so when it melts during the day and then the sun goes down and it goes down to 28 degrees, it just becomes one big patch of black ice.
Same problem here.
So the buses weren't running for school. I mean, school was off. It's just for like a week, almost. It's like till. Well,
Yeah, when school's done, it's over, man. Like, it's a wrap. Like, that week is just over.
all you have to do is threaten snow around here, and school will shut down. Like they won't.
Out of our hands.
They won't even. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what if we drop our kids off? Can we go to school then? Because their big thing is the buses. You know, the liability of running the buses and all that stuff, and the side streets around here.
Hey, I can get them there.
Yeah, I could get them there, and plus my son walks to high school, so I mean, hello, let's do this. You know, they sat home, did nothing. They call it? See, now that they have this ability to just send the kids home with their Chromebooks and have them have an agenda for them to go online and take care of things, it's like, you know, since they've done that, they don't think twice about shutting things down. And just sending them home with the work and being like, oh, well, you know, hey, it's going to snow. Go ahead. Here's 3 days worth of work that I have a 7-year-old that I've got to figure out. You know, it takes me 3 hours to figure the shit out. And I'm like, by then I'm like, I'm done. Let's try again tomorrow because I figured it out. Okay.
Man, I feel you, man. This is a point, like, maybe not 1, and maybe not 1A or B or C, but somewhere in point of why I'm not teaching anymore or never really got into it in the first place was like all the stuff that's just like, Tyler, we just can't do it that way. And I go, that's just not how it was in business. You know, you just got to get it done. And so anyway.
So it's pretty much blanket
man.
across the board with all that crap. Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, how preposterous would it be if your boss right now was just like, Sean, look, I know you worked you worked hard, but that wasn't enough. You got to go home and fill all the rest of your time with more work, and I'm just going to call it homework, and you better have that done tomorrow, and if you don't, I'm docking it from your, like, pay. That's essentially what happens in school.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's mind-blowing to me that I, as a student, put up with that. I should have just been like, no way. Like, what do we do here?
It was just normal, though, growing up to get homework that I would bring back to my now wife who would do it for me. You know, it was just normal back then. Right. All through high school, I didn't touch homework until I met my wife, and she did it for me. In fact, truth be told, my wife helped me graduate because the things were so lax back in 97 when I graduated. There was no like standards for anything, right? So if you did your homework and you passed your homework, you could flunk everything else, every pop quiz, every test, finals, and still pass with a 66. So,
nice.
So that's I don't remember what I got. It was above that, but we didn't do the letter grades. So that's what I did. I brought my homework back to my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and she did it, and she did a fantastic job and got me through school. So I really appreciate that. Shout out to my wife who helped me pass high school.
Yeah.
Right,
Congrats,
Joe?
bud.
Right?
Yeah.
Was it still like that when you were a kid?
Work. No, I didn't have a girlfriend to do my work, so I just didn't do it.
Now, look at this bragger over here. A guy that had a girlfriend in high school. I mean, come on.
Doing his homework. Wasn't she like 4 years younger than you?
She's 3. Hold on. Oh, wow. She's 3 years younger than me, but she was only 2 grades behind me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
she was
she's
really
smart.
graduating at the same time. It's like when she was like a senior, she's like, "Oh my God, I have to do this all over again."
No, that's how Son sold it. He's like, look, if you do my homework, then you're gonna know what's coming up, and you're gonna be.
You'll
great.
get like
You're gonna
a
be able to
straight
go in-
hundreds. Yeah,
You'll be able to get into Syracuse. It'll be great.
Well,
You'll
she
literally
did.
have the
She went
answers to the test.
She did her undergrad at ESF, so.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, she did, and we used to get back then. Student section tickets were like $5, and that I took for granted, guys. If I ever could go back in time and redo something, it would be to soak that in a little more.
Especially considering the years, bro.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, she was probably there 2000.
It was two. So it was 99. 2000-ish, something like that, 2001, somewhere around there.
There's some pretty good years in there.
Yeah, so, but I took it for granted, man. You just go there and you drink beer and you're just partying with the kids and just being raucous, and it was for the good old days. And if I would have known that I was going to be leaving and moving here, I would have soaked that in a little more. I really would have. That's one of my regrets growing up once I became an adult and could drive, is that I didn't soak enough of that shit in. Because, you look back on it, you're like, man, what a missed opportunity. I had 2 years to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, we opportunity as long with that. I mean, I feel you too. Like my wife and I were talking about the other day of just being like, we know someone that's like, or something to the degree of, if the story kind of like is clear in my mind, that there's a really wealthy family that's sending their daughter to college, and she's like, no, or she's a sophomore right now. That's what it was. And she's like, Dad, like, look, I'm at A&M. This is like, whatever school. It's not like I'm at Harvard. And she's the daughter of the president of our company. And she's going like, why don't I just, not or like pause right now and start working for you or the company and see what happens. And then I'll reassess if I need to go back. And my wife and I were just like, no, that's the worst idea possible. Like literally delay your responsibilities as long as you possibly can. Like be in college. Yes, it kind of sucks because you have no money whatsoever, but it makes a $5 ticket like way more special, right?
Yeah, I wonder what they are now.
I mean, they're not much.
They
more.
probably can't be.
It's
what,
still
20?
like subsidized, with to whatever
Right.
the
Yeah.
ratio is. But I mean, it's like you got to take advantage of these times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a certain type of freedom that comes with that, right? I mean, yes,
Absolutely.
you're still doing work, you still got the homework and this and that, but there's a different responsibility level when you go from there to every day being an adult.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's
It's
not
funny
that
that
bad.
you said that your wife graduated you, Sean, because Michael's wife will say that she has an undergrad and master's degree from Syracuse, and Michael does not.
Oh, she did that much for him, huh?
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly. How's Michael doing?
I wasn't
Wink,
there.
wink.
I don't need any NCAA people listening to
Well,
this.
at one time, Joe, did we ever confirm? Is his wife SU or ESM grad?
Yeah.
Oh, she is. Okay.
Probably so.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Did we? Okay. All right. Well, no need to relive it then, is there? What else? What else you got, Tyler? You asked to come on
I did.
a while back, and we ran into some snafus, and basketball season's kind of hectic. Life for Joe and I is hectic, and it just so happens that this was a perfect day for me anyway to be able to do this because the kids are being good, the wife's gone, and I know it's been some time since you've been on. Not only that, but you've been we tried to plan this out earlier and it just didn't happen. So, and you're still buzzing, but that's fine. We're all used to it by now. It's okay. It's okay.
Listen, I'm not the buzzard. No, man. I think a while ago I was just like, I was just thinking, it's like, man, I miss talking to these guys. It's like there's when you're deprived of the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the family aspect of it. You need to get it back at some point. It's like a prodigal son returning home or something. So that's a long way of just saying I missed you guys, and
Thanks, Tyler. We
it's
missed you
always
too.
good to catch up. And it sucks that like we didn't have a nice ceremonial time like the first year we were friends, where we're winning 10 games and Joe's getting obliterated at the Camping World Bowl. Like there was just a lot to talk about that year. Like we haven't had much to talk about, so I figured, well, I just have thoughts in my head that have been like kind of building up. No, I've shared a lot of them, but
every time Joe calls me, the picture of him on ESPN going, it comes up on my phone.
I know. I'll never forget that. Every year I say, like...
That's why I let it ring to voicemail, Joe, so I can just look at it.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. I always call you back. Always. Go ahead, Tyler.
Drop of a hat, I'm there. No, I put my holiday plans in escrow every year, and then this year was incredibly frustrating because we were 5-7, if I remember this correctly.
Yep. Yeah, I believe one of us called that at the beginning of the year. I can't remember who it was.
Regardless of who called
Probably
that
the one
or
that
not.
just brought it up. All right.
I was so far off with 6-6. That's like,
I think
it's like I was one
that's where
game
we
off
were,
or
right?
something.
Rutgers. Rutgers screwed you. Actually, Tommy DeVito screwed you. Actually, Coach Baber screwed you. I'm just going to send the blame right up the ladder on that one.
I can't even believe... Dude, I forgot Tommy DeVito was alive, to be honest with you. Like, as soon as he transferred, I was just like, who cares, man? Like, this guy... I mean, it's just so... This team is so frustrating, man. And it's like, it's not like I have to be out here, and it's like, in my office, there's a Syracuse helmet, and then every Monday, people waltz in and like, hey, man, how'd Syracuse do? I didn't get the chance to watch the game. I don't have ACC Network. I'm just like, why are you asking me this shit, man? Like, we lost. We had 3 weeks, I think, to get, like, one win. Like I said, I put my whole holiday plans in escrow. So, like, okay, if Syracuse makes a bowl game, we're canceling everything and we're going to this game because it's like it's just finally such like a monumental achievement for this team. We've gone to like 3 bowl games in 20 years or something like that, and I'm starting to tell my wife like it's more uncommon that we go. It's like there's a chance with the statistics as they are, like I won't be able to go to another bowl game until like my kids are in high school. So it's like I gotta. And I don't have kids. I don't even have one. There's not even one on the way. Like, if you catch my drift, like, it's I'm really upset about a lot. All my sports teams suck, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look. I think
that's how I was feeling. That's why I went to the game. So I was like, I don't know the next time they're going to be a chance to win a 10 games.
He was there. He didn't even think twice. It wasn't even a question with him.
Well, you gotta go. I mean, I would have if
he
I
may have
just
less
move across country. I would have gone.
He may have less freedom now. Joe has a little less freedom now. Things are a little different for Joe.
A little less. A lot of less.
So it's a good freaking thing you went. Actually, Joe, that was a good pull right there. Yeah, absolutely.
No, because guess what? They make a bowl game next year. If she can't go, I'm not going.
Here's the deal. I was just about to tell you. The next bowl game is going to cost me a fortune. I'm going to have to bring 4 other people with me.
That's
it's like,
that's a tough scene.
The kids love it. My wife loves it. I mean, hell, she was begging me to go to. I'm glad we didn't now. That would have sucked. But she was begging me to go to Blacksburg on a whim last weekend. I'm like,
for the basketball game.
Yes, it's a 5.5 hour drive to Blacksburg, which is a beautiful place.
Nothing. It's just like going to the grocery store.
I mean, Charlottesville's 2.5 hours away, so that's more. I was kind of looking for the UVA game before the schedule came out, but that was a home game. So, Charlottesville's a beautiful place. I would love to go to
I've been to
UVA
Charlottesville. I'd love to go see a football game there. Actually, most of the stadiums that are in the ACC are actually good. Storied places. That'd be a great thing to do. But it's like, why would I go? Why would I do that? Like, if I'm not guaranteed a win.
Well, I'll tell you,
hard to sell.
Well, I wasn't banking on a win. I guess you never really try to bank on a win, but we have so many near us. Like, I'm only 3 hours from Joe, and he's what are you, Joe? Where you're at now? Half hour from at least two Wake Forest and NC State, right?
Wake Forest is about 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right. So they're not
But
in
NC
Wake Forest.
State's like-
Because they're
right,
not in
NC
Wake Forest
State's
anymore.
Less than half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Chapel Hill is like 45 minutes.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Right.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And Duke is in Durham. That's about 30 minutes too. So I went to that game a couple years ago.
Right. There was 12. There was you.
That's right.
There was you and 12 other fans there, and they were Duke fans. The other
It
12.
was cold. There's
Yeah,
a
it
lot
was.
of Duke fans there. It was like the second to last game of the year.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Remember that.
But yeah, I mean, there's when the kids get a little bit older and I'm not so damn busy at work, it'll be a whole lot easier to take a trip down to the Carolinas and do some of those and hit Charlottesville. I got to be honest, I love going home to Syracuse for a game. But first of all, it's like the furthest drive out of all of the places they play in the ACC. It's the furthest drive for me.
You're going to Miami.
Yeah, well, true. But, or Tallahassee, right? So, it is nice to get home, but when I get home, I do go home for games. Like, if I go home, I'm not wasting that trip without going to a game. So I plan my trips back to Syracuse
Certainly not.
around games.
Right.
And my mom hates that. And I get it, because I'm there for the game.
Come
I hang
on,
out for a
Mom.
couple of days, and then I'm out,
Why don't you come, Mom?
You know my mom,
Yeah,
Joe.
for
She's
real. Come
she's
on.
like, I'll just watch it at Brad's or the Caboose.
Yeah. See, that's how I am when I go home, except for this last time because you needed, a negative test and all that fun stuff. So
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
you
mean,
missed that Wake Forest overtime game. That would have been a nice one.
yeah, it would have.
That would have been a nice one.
But it's
God,
tough getting
man,
home
that
for just a
was-
game, man.
I thought we had that game.
And
for
in the
sure.
past,
Dude, we were
past
so
2 years have
close
sucked.
early to get that 6 win. There's so many games.
I know. Well,
Florida
that
State,
I know.
Clemson, we were right
The Florida
there.
State game. That was on the day. That was on the day of my wedding reception, dude. I was like holding up the show for that game because it was in California, and I was like, I'm not leaving until this game's over. I know we're gonna win. We're gonna beat this team and just crumble.
Yeah. Some bad calls, but hey, we're playing Virginia this year after we took their offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. It's just not in Charlottesville. It's in Syracuse.
See, I know that sucks.
So the Cuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
What's,
saying I was up home a couple weeks ago, and there was somebody saying that they were like doubling the tickets for fans in the nosebleeds.
Really?
Well,
Price?
we have the price.
For basketball games?
No, for football. this year.
Oh, got you. Oh, got you. Coming up.
Yeah. Well, because they have 7 home games, and Notre Dame's finally coming to the Dome. So
Oh, joy.
no,
Dude,
I'm
this
just saying.
the schedule, dude, is
Are you looking at
rough.
that right now?
to say yes.
Yeah.
Man. This is rough.
Yeah, just throw Purdue and Notre Dame on our non-conference. That's
Yeah.
fine. No big deal.
Why
Which
would we
Notre
do
Dame
that to
should
ourselves?
not be
Why would we
non-conference.
do
but-
that to ourselves? Is exactly what I thought when I saw that.
Dude, this is a murderer's row. All right, so listen to this. All right, so I'm just gonna read the entire schedule. Why not?
Well,
We're
week
here.
1, Louisville still got Malik Cunningham. Enough said.
All right, so
You
we're
don't
gonna
know
do our
that, though.
football preview real quick. So Louisville, UConn. UConn's probably still in shambles, I'd imagine.
They are.
Purdue is a very legitimate Big Ten team that can beat anybody at any time. Then here's where it gets interesting. The Friday night game, which we're like 1,000-0 in, we play Virginia at home. Then the next week, we have Wagner. Okay, there's a little bit of a break. Depends on who's better. Wagner might be better than UConn if memory serves, but whatever.
Well, it's tough. It's a good thing we get our only bye week the week after that tough Wagner game.
Yeah, that really helps us out. We got screwed on buys last
Well,
year too, by the way.
They saw the rest of the schedule and they're like, they're going to need this. So it goes home for NC State, at Clemson, versus Notre Dame, at Pitt, versus Florida State, at Wake, at BC. I mean, that's just... The ACC was like, okay, who do we screw again? Hit the Syracuse button.
Yeah, like it's a question of who they screw. The ACC hates Syracuse. Why did they even let us in? Just to pick on us?
It's really a wonder to me.
They let us in for this.
For this, so he could be the dog that gets
So
kicked
we-
around.
No, they did.
Yeah.
We could be the punching dummy.
Yeah.
They did. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And
We could be 3-2 after that, and then fight for the rest of the season to get 3 wins.
Well, I love this is my favorite part of the whole schedule. They're probably like, okay. Well, Notre Dame has to be on their schedule just because it's that year. Where's the most inconvenient place to put it? Well, is it between Clemson and NC State, or is it between Clemson and Pitt? Let's do the Clemson and Pitt one.
Away at Clemson and away at Pitt. At least Pitt's losing Kenny Pickett and a bunch of those guys.
True.
Have to bring in a new quarterback.
Well, he's not new though. He played a little bit. He's decent. I forget his name.
Who?
The backup for Pitt?
I don't remember him.
I remember him being decent. I don't know his damn name. Of course, you can put me on the spot.
How would you know his name?
Nothing.
Kenny Pickett almost, he was like in the Heisman or some shit.
Didn't he play a little bit though? I didn't. I said I don't know his name. I said I don't.
Is Jerkovic coming back for
yep.
BC?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
So basically,
Hartman's coming back for Wake Forest too, but Wake Forest had a bunch of seniors. Like they had like 6 super seniors on defense and a bunch of seniors as far as receivers go.
Hartman's going to tear it up next year.
Hartman will be there, but they got a bunch of young guys they got to fill in.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
Florida State's still going to have that young quarterback that runs.
Why is Louisville our first game?
I don't know why dude, it should be Wagner, UConn. You know what I mean? Like,
just get, like, if you... All right, whatever, man. I mean, this is a
okay. I take back what I said. Maybe I wasn't thinking about Pitt. Because I have no clue who this guy is. So
the guy that we saw play, a backup that we saw play last year, was the BC backup.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking
Brock or whatever, or some Meyer, bro. I don't know. He was huge. I mean, enormous, like mountain of a man. He was like 6'7" or something like that.
And he came out and he did a fantastic job too, if I remember.
But he was
that.
splitting time with Grissel, right?
He was at the
true freshman that was going back and forth.
Yeah, they were having their own quarterback controversy at the time.
Dude, that guy was massive.
Because Jerkovic was hurt, and then Jerkovic came
back out of nowhere,
out of the clear blue sky. Yeah, he was just like, yeah, my injury's over. The next week.
Yeah, the next week.
I thought he was almost done for the season, and the next week I'm like, oh man.
He was supposed to be done for the season, and we never expected to see him, and then he came back out of nowhere, rose from the dead like Lazarus.
Literally, dude. That was insane. Because
Grosel.
Like, yeah, he's definitely not playing again. Like, I don't know why you would think that. And literally the next week he's starting.
Yeah, Dennis Grosel. Did we already say that?
Grosel?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Dennis Grosel. That's the dude.
What dude?
That's the BC quarterback. That's pretty decent. But I guess it doesn't matter, right? He's going to be the backup anyway. But he's the one I was thinking of, is my point. Going around my ass to get to my elbow, and that's my fault because I, screwed up.
No, you're good. Yeah. What's Clemson going to do? Is Clemson going to be any good? I mean, they lost everybody, essentially.
Yeah, they're going to be about mediocre, right? They'll probably be about the same, right?
I mean, they lost every one of their coaches. They all got head coaching jobs, and Venables is gone.
Oh, like OCs and stuff like that. They still got Dabo, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they were starting to come along a little bit better, I think they got players around, obviously. But I think that, just as well as anybody, Tyler, that coaching changes can change some things no matter how talented your team is.
This is the tell year. This is the tell year for Syracuse on that end of things, because it has been a rough ride with the coaching staff for Syracuse since Dino's been there. I mean, it's been obnoxious. So,
well, I think he rode the wave off of some of Scott Schaefer's players, but also, he had some coaches around him that went and got head coaching job. I mean, once what's his name, Lynch left.
Coach Lewis, Sean Lewis.
Oh yeah, sorry, I always want to say Lynch. Yeah,
Lynch
Sean
is
Lewis.
Still on staff.
Yeah, once he went to head coach at Kent State. Yeah, like once he went there, like our offense just sputtered. I mean, part of that was obviously Dungy and the offensive line experience, the receivers, that kind of stuff. But he had a huge part of it, I believe, too. So
I think you're right. We also just got worse at every position on offense.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
they went all in. We finally have an offensive coordinator that's not from. I mean, just think about it. Like, he brought in his guy, Sterling Gilbert, head coach from McNeese State, to be offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. And now we just brought two guys in that have been working with each other since 2013. BYU Taysom
I like that
Hill
a lot,
days.
by the way.
Oh, it's huge. I think it's huge because you have a guy. I mean, they literally turned Taysom Hill into an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So if they can do it to him, I mean, if anyone's going to, well, okay, we can pump the brakes on that a little bit. But
But what did he say? Bullets?
He's a player. You know, he's. Yes, I hear you. I think that Virginia has, especially when they were there, outperformed their talent level, and that's what we need Syracuse to do routinely. And so that type of player is coming in that overcomes coaching, if you will. That they just go out there and, well, I'm not saying we're going to be a 5-star factory,
no,
have Nick Saban be our coach, but I think the toughest thing though ultimately will be, what kind of coach views Syracuse as a destination job with the pay and the amenities and all that stuff. That's the intersection of man that you need to go find, and then it's probably a guy like Coach Babers, but the performance doesn't justify the desire to be there, of course.
Well, it's money, right? I mean, I'm sure Venables was getting paid plenty at Clemson until he waited for a perfect opportunity, right?
They came off of money, though, right? We'll never know how much money they came off of, but they had to have come off of some for the football program anyway.
Oh, they definitely did because they added more coaches. I mean, they have more specific coaches, and like I said,
and that's what it takes. I mean, hello, you're not going to.
And it's not even Taysom Hill as much as Bryce Perkins. Bryce Perkins was a highly rated, guy at UCLA, went to Virginia, and they turned him into, I believe he's in the NFL now, right? So, I mean, they've proven themselves, and I expect leaps and bounds from, Garrett Schrader and the offense. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, well, that's going to be key.
I don't know, man.
So, I think it's possible. I'm always an optimist, though, when it comes to this stuff.
That's fair.
I mean, I'm always an optimist when it comes to this stuff because what else is there to be? I'm not going to be, I just don't set my expectations. But I got to imagine there's
Garrett
improvement.
Schrader's passing, or is it our receivers?
Both, yes.
Oh, dude.
I think it's one more than the other.
A couple plays in my mind.
I think it's Garrett Schrader's passing. If I had to choose one more than the other, it's about 60-40. How many drop passes were there last year? I mean, it was ridiculous.
Several. Yes. Numerous, yeah.
I feel like there's a lot, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have some guys that they run their route and then they kind of just stop, give up on the play.
Yeah, we talked about
Garrett
that too.
Schrader is one of those guys where he was extending the play. Now you get the scramble drill, run to the open spot. We've always talked about that. I mean, and you got to be able to have that as a receiver. Like, okay, this is my route, but just in case, I need to be able to, figure it out. Go to the old schoolyard ball, just run to the open spot. And I think that we had nobody that could do that.
Pockets and zone.
Yeah.
No, and we didn't have anybody. Like, it felt very
effortless. There was just the effort wasn't there on some of it.
There's no effort, but I think it was just like a lack of. It's like there's no. I don't want to make it sound like so simple, but like fundamentally there was no like awareness or like there was no like like if he doesn't hit me when I stop, then I should maybe do something else. Like, it's very like robotic almost.
Right.
Like,
yes. Like it's not a natural
I ran my
movement,
little
right?
Stop. I ran my little 5-yard out. That's the end of the play. Like, there's nothing else I could possibly do on this play.
Yeah. Why improvise?
It's like.
Well, he didn't throw it to me. I'm not open, right? Like, no, that's
must
not
suck for him.
He gets
I
creamed.
saw that a lot too. Is more or less. I mean, that's confidence, but that's also a lot of just being coached up. And I just don't. Again, I expect a lot more out of these coaches. We made a lot of coaching changes, and I feel like we kind of went in the wall a little bit to get some of these guys, and I don't think they're going to be here forever. I think that they're short-term guys. I mean, this Jason Beck OC for Virginia is very close to getting an offensive coordinator job somewhere. So,
sure.
I mean, this is, like, again, I think that Wild Hack and Dino, they went all out to try to save Dino's job, like we brought up before, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is it for Dino. And I love Dino. I'd love to see him. I'd love to see him be a staple. He's got to turn it around. He's got to be competitive. And you can't be competitive if you don't have the right coaches. And you can't get the right coaches unless you have money. And Syracuse not known for dishing out the cash to bring in the talent needed to be what they used to be. Even back in the McNabb days. I mean, let's be honest, really.
Right.
That's the last I remember it being like gung-ho exciting.
I feel good about this, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say that stuff that people don't know that happens behind the scenes, like they've really revamped the fundraising department, and they've actually brought talented people into that department, and they're making that an effort. Number one, from the student athlete side, like they're investing a lot of time and effort into the student athletes to make Syracuse University a better place to just be, period, despite the obvious drawbacks, which I thought is a huge step forward. I mean, even going as far as like, putting in plans to help, folks with, either, free sports mental health counseling or free like sports psychology training, like things that were an afterthought, like not even like, stuff that you can hire a $40,000 a year professional to come do. That was off the table. They wouldn't think about that. And now those are just like, routine things that they have set up in place. And that's due to, them thinking outside the box in the Orange Club. And they're doing a lot better job at reaching the alumni. And, because really what's going to come down to is that I see it down here in the South vividly. You got to pony up no matter what for stuff.
Right.
If you want stuff, it costs.
Yeah.
It's like, where are all of our alumni that actually like, we need to find the 10 that are rich, that do like football and hit their line constantly. That'll change something, and then it'll snowball.
Events. I mean, there's a number of things you can do.
No, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah,
that is so true in so many different ways in real life.
Yep. Anything we haven't touched a lot. This should have been. There's a lot of things that I expected to come up that did not. Perhaps for the better.
What's your first? What's the first one?
I don't know. Just in general, I just didn't know what we were going to be talking about. So I'm glad that we did get into some SU stuff. I didn't know if we were going to make this thing totally different or what, but I think it's good. I think we talked about some really solid SU stuff, by the way. Some stuff that doesn't usually come up, so that's good.
No, I'm with you. A part of me also wanting to talk to you guys as much as I do is because you guys actually like share a big part of what my interest is that nobody else around me does, which is Syracuse athletics. So
right.
Part of me is always going to want to talk to you guys about that because I just don't.
Well, we'll definitely
do it.
if you're
exactly.
Right, and if you're game, dude, we'll. I mean, once basketball ends, and we start looking ahead in the summertime, and we need spots to fill, we can do this again. We can do part 2, which should be fun. But this turned out to be something quite constructive, actually. Huh? What?
No, it's funny because that's how this podcast started.
So yeah, so real quick, and we never talked about this. So this is something real quick we could finish up with. This show was always supposed to be game breakdowns and just shooting the shit amongst a couple fans. Like Joe said, I think the analogy that I remember talking about over 5 years ago now was just to create this show as if we're sitting at a bar, drinking beer, and talking about the game. And most of the conversation is supposed to be kind of pedestrian and just talking about the game and what's going on. And that's what we've stuck to. And that's what I think has made it popular. And we always said, and I've said before, but if 10 people listened, we'd still do the show because we just enjoy doing it. And plus I spent a shit ton of money on equipment.
Dude, but even on top of that, though, right? Like you podcast before we started this podcast, right?
I did. I played around in podcasting.
That you like enjoyed to do.
Yeah.
You had some equipment and stuff like that.
So I always loved radio.
Your brother, right?
Yeah. I always loved radio, and so I played around in podcasting. And I always wanted to get into radio. And when I really got serious about it and I looked in and they're like, oh, well, you got to work for X amount of time for free, which was like over a year. It was like 18 months. I'm like, well, I can't do that. I got freaking bills to pay. I can't do that.
Minimum.
Is there any other way to do this if I go to school and you're going to pay, at the time, I think it was like $30,000 for school, right? Broadcasting school or whatever, communications. And I could have went to OCC or whatever, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, what do I make when I get out of school? It's fucking peanuts, guys. It's nothing. So I was like, screw it. So then all of a sudden podcasting came along. I became a carpenter. Podcasting came along. And then I was like, okay, well, let's try my hand at this. I screwed around with it a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I want to start an SU podcast. So I got with my brother. I'm like, dude, do you want to do an ACC podcast? Because he's a Duke fan. He grew up in Syracuse. Because he just wanted to piss everybody off in my family. And so he became a Duke fan, including Joe. Because so Joe is a childhood best friends with my brother.
Sure.
And, I'd be up in my room drinking beer and smoking pot, and they'd be, doing the typical little brother best friend shit at the door and all that stuff, So, but Ryan, my brother, was like, dude, why don't you talk to Joe? I'll bet you Joe would love to do that. So I had my cousin on for the first couple episodes. Awful. I love my cousin. TJ. It just wasn't working. I needed someone more analytical, right? So
what was he doing? Just like reading like the
No, I don't know. It just was playing around. This thing was nothing at the beginning. We were just playing around.
It's still on Spotify, isn't it? Can you go back to it?
No, I don't think those episodes exist anymore.
I imagine him just like, I'm just gonna read the New York Yankees schedule real quick. Just like
No, nothing like that. But once I talked to Joe, so I actually talked to Joe and I recorded our conversation. It was like episode 3 or something like that.
Without me knowing.
Without him knowing. I recorded
I heard this part. Yeah, I did hear this part.
Oh, okay. So I recorded the conversation, and then the next episode, I just played that, me and Joe talking. And I went back and listened to it, which I don't do anymore because I can't stand the sound of my voice. But I used to listen to just see how it was and how the quality was and all that. And
I know how I feel.
And and so I listened to it. I'm like, this is excellent. I hope Joe's on board. And so, anyways, that was it. That was it. Joe came on full time next episode. And then that was it. And
my whole point was I agreed with it because I lived in a place where I could talk to nobody about Syracuse sports.
Yeah, if he never moved to North Carolina, he said this maybe last episode or the episode before. If he never moved to North Carolina, this might not happen. And here's something. Here's something I'm going to gush on.
I get it.
I'm going to gush on Joe. Joe was always my brother's, always my favorite friend of my brother's. And he had numerous. There were some good kids, but I always loved Joe. His dad.
Even though you beat me up with you had the
I
size
headbutted
advantage.
you one time, and I stole your shirt or something like that. But I thought it was my brother's, by the way. And I stomped it in mud or something, and he was getting picked up by his dad.
It was concrete. It's wet concrete.
He remembers. It was wet concrete. Okay.
I thought he was a bully when I was younger. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Oh my gosh, Joe! Just to my little brother and his friends. That's it. So, anyways, to gush on Joe, he was always my favorite of my brother's friends, and I love Joe. Joe's a genuinely good dude, and he's a class act, and I love him. And here we are, over 5 years later, doing this, and it's awesome. We have a blast. So. And we get, you get into the COVID talk and some of the political things that happen in sports that you need to talk about. And, you get a ton of hate mail and people stop listening. And I mean, that's fine. That comes with it. I think to actually have people care enough to let you know they're going to stop listening to you because you think one way or another on something is a good sign, whether or not they listen or not. I mean, it's whatever to me.
Well, there was that one email that said the guy said he was going to stop listening because I said I wasn't
because you said you wouldn't get vaccinated. Yeah, there was one guy that specifically said something about the vaccination, but I've got so many through COVID, I got so many nasty grams through COVID with the things we would say or mock or whatever. And here we are. It's funny because I've posted things on Facebook on our page about being able to attend games that were yanked, and I got warnings and I got suspended from Facebook for the Cuse Militia account. Never on Twitter, but on Facebook for the Cuse Militia account, saying things like, cloth masks don't work, and we should all be in being in outdoor venues is fine. We should all just get back to normal when it comes to sporting events. And, here we are 2 years later, or almost 2 years. It was August. I remember it was around August, about 2 years ago, 2 years this August, so a year and a half ago, roughly, where I said that, and they all got yanked. And here we are. And now we know that that's actually true. And I'm not saying I'm a genius or anything. I'm just saying the laws of virology stay the laws of virology. So, and hey, look, it's not coming from me, man. My wife's the smartest person I know. So I listen to her. I think she's, is she smarter than Fauci or not? Because which one's more scary?
Well,
which one's more scary?
Twice, and one time.
Yeah, that's true. So, do you have? I feel like you've got 20 more minutes on COVID.
Dude, I got hours on COVID. Don't get me started. Don't get me and Joe started.
It's more you.
So imagine like on the podcast app right now, like on Apple Podcasts, it's like you say like, okay, one more quick thing, and there's still like an hour left on the ticker, and people are like looking down like okay,
oh wait, what happened?
Two quick things and we're out of here. And so it's like ETA till done, like 3 hours left.
And it's not easy if you really think about it to sit here and shoot the shit like this for this long with no agenda and have it be good.
Not also be in the same room too. I mean, I will tell you too. When I have like gone in and either had a show briefly in a studio and then like done spots in person, it flows so much easier because like you can just like make eye contact and then when somebody else needs to jump in. Like it's way harder to do it remote. And like how I used to podcast, like it really took the wind out of like when I was done recording an episode, like, dude, I felt like I had just gone through a game because like I was doing it through the phone, like no visual whatsoever.
Right.
Like total strangers like helping me out for no reason whatsoever. Like, and I'm like trying to put together some sort of,
flow.
I don't even know what the hell I was trying to do.
What was the one? The one that got me where I was I'm like, oh my gosh, to just be Tyler right now, it would be so cringy. Was I think Justin Barron, if I'm not mistaken. Was it?
After I did like 3 recruits in a row. I remember just like, I think after that episode, like that was the second to last episode ever of that podcast.
Like it killed you.
Like,
you're like,
dude, it's over, man.
Dude, recruits are tough because they're young. They expect to be directed through things, right? Like we did the Malcolm Folk
one. No, they
one.
don't want to say like no bulletin board material. Like they don't want to put anything like it's just like they're trying to be pros without already being pros. But like we're trying to figure out who you are.
Right.
It's like I don't give a shit about anything. I just want to like know who you are, and they're just like no, like no, you will not.
Like you ask a question, you ask like a question for 20 seconds that's supposed to be a little bit of there's supposed to be some depth to it, and you get a yeah. And then there's silence. It's like, okay, so
yeah, probably. What?
And he's like, hello, I answered your question. Like, can we move on?
Yeah, like next. So
yeah, it's crazy, man.
It's difficult, and that stuff's hard to coordinate, and we've done it, and it's fun when it's done, but my gosh, man, I just like coming on, throwing on the green room, and coming on here with Joe and you if we're playing that out, and just have fun like that. Like, it's too much pressure, and it's not our style to really have, like, to do the guest thing, but, the thing with Malcolm Folk, that was fun, I did
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I just want to see him play now at this point, right? He'll be a redshirt freshman, I assume, right?
Yeah,
so,
yep, he will be.
So, yeah,
he's like 20-year-old freshman.
Yeah, but it's fun and it's worth it when it's done. It's just tough to do.
Yeah, I hear you. I think you guys should toy around with doing like maybe some like 10-minute interviews or something. I'm happy to make some introductions for you if you'd like. I mean, it's really not a big deal on my end. Nothing crazy. Just like, hey, look, just get you introduced, and then maybe you find rapport with somebody else, and then at least it's just one extra person to bring on, whether it's for basketball or football or just some local or I don't know who some homeless guy talking through a payphone. I don't know.
That would be fun. That would be fun. That'd be like second to you, a homeless guy through a payphone. If you could line, if you could,
I'm close.
I know one actually. If you could line that up for me, that would be excellent. The problem is finding the payphone.
Yeah, that's. Yep. That is true. They'll call collect. They'll call you collect.
Yeah.
Skype.
Can you do that? I'm sure you can. Okay, I think that's it. Right? I mean, we could keep going. Like I said, we should just do part 2 later on. We'll get you back on.
Part 2 later.
We'll do another freestyle episode. So, look, Tyler, thank you so much. We appreciate you for coming on. I'm glad we could do it during the week off. Joe was, truth be told, Joe was a little nervous. He's like, what are we gonna talk about, man? I gotta have some structure, man. And
just how I'm built.
That's how he's built. I knew it. When the phone was ringing, I'm like, he's gonna ask what we're talking about, and I'm gonna have to tell him I don't know. So, and then he's gonna ask me again.
I'm humbled. I'm humbled by your vulnerability, Joe. It just goes to show, that's just, you guys are brothers. You don't need to have an agenda when you see a family member. You just pick up where you left off.
Exactly. See, it was like nothing, and it's true. And it's crazy because we met through social media. I met you in person one time. I brought you to Trappers 2, the only time they had the loudest fucking band in the world on. And then we couldn't even talk.
Okay. Before we continue, this is very brief. Very, very brief. I didn't know this at the time, but since then, that stuff happens to me always. Like had nothing. It was me. Like I affected you that day. I'm sorry.
I believe that because that's not how T2 rolls. Really, I've never seen that.
It's a me thing.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you can take some of the responsibility for that, Tyler. I appreciate it.
No, it's 100%. Like, dude, I got plenty of stories. Yeah, man, nothing but stories. Like Ryan Norton, our kicker. There was like when we were in New York City, like the one day that he was there, I was also there. So we like got lunch and that was cool. And then like Omari calls me and he's like, Palmer. I may have told you the story, may have not, but he calls me too. He's like, hey, I'm at Toyota Center. And he would be fine with me telling this story. He's like, hey, I'm at Toyota Center. Like, I finally got the call for like the big league show, WWE. And I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome. Like, congrats. And he goes, yeah, but like, I really need some weed like right now. And I know that you live in Houston. So like, can you get that hooked up for me? Cause like, I'm not going on stage or, to some degree of like, but like, it's just like all the time. Like it happens all the time. And then like, there's just stuff like that. Like there's a guy, we go to Trappers too. There's a guy making out that is playing lead guitar for this band. It's his birthday. He's playing guitar while making out with his wife in a pizza shop that I've never been to. It's like, how do you...
It's so Syracuse, by the way.
I don't know.
It is so Syracuse.
Oh,
good times. Tyler was like, I'm going to go. I'm leaving.
My ears were like...
parking lot.
bleed. Like, dude, they had like... The amps turned all the way up, and they had like mics next to the amp, like to bigger amps. Like, it was so loud. And my sister, poor gal, she's like 20 or 21. I don't even know how old she is at the time. From New York City. And she's just like looking around like, what in the hell did I decide to do? Like, this is just, yeah, anyway.
It was excellent. It's a memory, right? So
it is forever. I'll never forget that.
Exactly. All right, we will do this again after basketball season ends, after Syracuse shocks the world and makes it to the Sweet 16, like I predicted. Joe, stop.
I hope they do.
I hope you're right.
Okay. After that happens, we will definitely have Tyler back on. It was a blast. It was loose. It was fun. And we appreciate you, Tyler, for coming on. We will be back here Sunday, after Syracuse faces Boston College for the second time. Can they start another streak? Let's hope so. For Tyler and Joe, I'm Sean. We're out of here.
Peace.
That's it. That's all we got. Tyler's
That's it.
still buzzing. Bzz. Bzz. He sounds like he sounds like he sounds like one of those outdoor
I can
bug
just-
zappers.